Hey, Sean, what's the story with this podcast?
Good question, Sean. It's my understanding that two middle-aged Seans are getting together to decide whether art is shit or not.
Like two Seans in a pod?
Exactly. One Sean knows a lot about art. The other Sean knows a lot about insurance and stuff.
And both are very middle-aged and very Sean.
So, is art shit?
Let's see what Sean has to say about it.
Oh yeah, 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 oh yeah.
So, Sean, we've got nothing to talk about today.
Very good. Yes. Well, we've got a whole lot of nothing to talk about. And the more that I've looked into this, the more upset I get about it. And, you know, in previous episodes, we've talked about artists who try to reduce art to the bare minimum and beyond, right? So there's the white painting. Oh, too much. You painted something. Then there's just the pedestal with nothing on it. Oh, that's too much because there's a pedestal there. There's the music with just silence written, just rests for all the instruments in it. Okay, good on you. And in getting to these, I hate to call them pieces. You get to the void. So I'm not sure who the original one was. I'm sure you can answer that question, but. We were working through something in a previous episode and we came across Yves Klein's Void. And I don't know if it's the original, but it seems to be one of the most famous / infamous pieces. This is basically just taking a gallery and painting it white and that's the art. The absence of art is the art. Now, that in itself, that's an idea. Okay, good. I love ideas. That's something. Now, what we're actually talking
more than an idea if you actually look back at the presentation of that work, there was actually there was very particular material choices in that example. But why don't you tell the listeners what the subject for today's podcast is?
So
what kind of nothing are we talking about?
We can get into the Yves Klein Void because yes, there's more to it than just whitewashed walls or whatever. This one is so a number of artists have riffed on the same idea of the nothing is the art, or the absence of art is the art, and they've presented as their work a gallery absent of any real art in nothing. It's a void. So this amazing retrospective of 9 pieces in a similar vein was held at the Pompidou Centre in Paris in February and March of 2009. And the curators put together 9 amazing pieces of nothing in 9 different rooms. Now, let me just, for the audience's sake, read out the names of the amazing curators of this.
But so many people got together to work on this.
There's 9 of them, 9 curators. And I thought, why does it take 9 people to present nothing? What are you collaborating on? Like, what work is involved? This is like, you don't even need to get anything done. You just, there it is. And this is it. And so 9, and I'm not poo-pooing these people's entire career from start to finish, but 9, I'm assuming they're pretty well-renowned people. They don't let amateurs fool around in the Pompidou Centre, right? Like, these people have got together and planned meticulously how they're going to present 9 versions of fuck all to an audience. And what do they talk about at those meetings? And how far in did they get? And no one said, hey, really? Really? Like, it's
so you're not here to say really today, Sean, are you?
This is just, and I've said it before, like, the emperor has no clothes. At some point, someone's got to call out, hold on, I'm calling bullshit on this, because one version of here's a room with nothing in it and Okay, I as an art appreciator can go into the room and appreciate the fact that not having any art in the room makes me think about something. And great, good idea.
No objects in the room, just to clarify there.
No, there's stuff. There's walls. There's some, maybe the emergency sign.
You said no art in the room. I just wanted to.
Well, the absence of art is the art. That's the bit. Okay, good idea. Good. Okay, you executed on it flawlessly. You didn't put any art in there accidentally. Good idea. How do you need to do that 9 more times? Like, it's done. That's the bit that gets me here. I can go and look in an empty trophy cabinet, and that says something. You didn't win any trophies. That's a big, strong message. Particularly it's a big cabinet, you're waiting. Where's all the trophies? You haven't got any. This is a good idea done once, maybe makes people think, whatever that makes them think. I'm lost now because I don't need to go in and look at it 9 times. That's what really, you can tell it got me riled up.
Well, this really is it's the Stadium Rock super group festival of contentless work, this exhibition of the Pompidou. I was quite excited when I heard this was on because I
can imagine.
You can imagine an institution.
Did you get over there and check it out?
No, but I picked up the catalogue at the time, which we'll get to.
We can talk about the catalogue. Yeah.
It's a beautiful catalogue.
Sure
and it's really packed full of something.
I know. I read about the catalogue and I thought, well, that's a catalogue that really, like, the artistry of putting together a whole bunch of words about nothing, that's a piece in itself. That's amazing.
Of course, there are lots of books that deal with explicitly contentless work and music and literature. Craig Dawkins' book No Medium is a good example. It's a forensic account of books with no words in them and recordings with no sound in them. And if you really want to dive in there, I'd have a look at that one. But yeah,
let's put that on the list because I reckon I could get an opinion on that one. Yeah.
But I guess the really interesting takeaway in this exhibition is that in bringing together these 9, and we'll argue how and why and to what extent, different presentations of contentless work, it perhaps indicates the extent to which these artists and the presentation of their work rely upon a range of contextualizing materials, such as the catalogue, such as wall labels, and in this context, such as the museum presenting particular empty rooms. They're not empty rooms down at your the house you've just been renovating. They're empty rooms in the Pompidou Centre.
Yeah. And I know, they deliberately put it in the middle of the permanent exhibits. Right? So it's not like you walk into the room and you go, have they just not got an exhibit on here at the moment? So they deliberately made sure people didn't make that mistake. Credit to them for that. And I do understand that if you've just walked through a museum or a gallery with, amazing art, and then you went into a void that you go, there's nothing in here. Okay. And then you go into the next room and there's nothing in there, and the next one there's nothing in there, and they're all different rooms, different nothing. But by about the third one, you're going, what? Nobody picked that up along the way.
It was a disappointment to read that one very significant artist that's produced empty rooms, Michael Asher, wasn't included in the exhibition. I believe there were some issues around negotiating his involvement, but he was included in the catalogue.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this the one who wanted to title the piece "An Empty Room in the Middle of the Pompidou Centre 2009"?
You've done some research that I haven't done.
Yeah, of course I have.
This is great.
Of course I have. Yeah.
I'm here to learn.
And I think they got pissed off at him. Well, look, I'm not going to say I've out-researched you on this. But I think they got upset at him because it was almost like he was trolling them back, you know?
But just by way of a broader introduction here, I guess the thing that's quite interesting, and we've spoken on this program around differences between monochromatic or contentless canvases or paintings in the past, and the extent, just like with the monochrome, we can talk about anything from a metaphysical void that opens up some kind of sense of contemplation through to a form of institutional critique, something that is more conceptually oriented in nature and is illuminating something about the structures and the fictionalizations within those structures that allow us to see and perceive art, and they can be on display. So in this exhibition, the curators have assembled a series of quite different contentless rooms.
So you say. And by the way, that little monologue there that you gave about it could have come straight from the catalogue, because it's a whole bunch of ways of describing nothing in quite elaborate and, intricate terms. But there's still nothing in the fucking rooms, like one room. Yeah, okay, I can live with it. 9, no, I'm lost. You're gonna really have to explain to me how this is worth 9 rooms in the Pompidou Centre.
There's a poetic, sanctified, serious sense of nothing. And then there's a middle finger nothing.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
What are the other 7?
Well, there are a whole range of different modalities we can talk about there, but I think it's also fair to say that the particular exhibition conditions that were being represented there were not necessarily faithfully represented, and as is the case with the first example you cited with Yves Klein's work, that there was actually a very particular paint that he used, his own paint, and that, as the curators acknowledge, the material, contextual, social, and philosophical conditions under which the initial exhibitions of these works took place were not faithfully reproduced in Void's The Retrospective.
Yeah, so let's talk about Yves Klein's very famous one, because you mentioned he's very famous for a particular shade of blue and a particular type of paint. Now, yes. He used his special paint, absent the blue pigment. So it was just white paint. And he was famous, very, very famous for a particular version of blue paint. Now, he used that exact paint without the blue in it. Come on. So you as a curator, trying to faithfully reproduce works that had happened in the past and in a different location, in a different room, with different paint and different, things that happen in that room that make them particular to each other. The various artists had different size rooms full of nothing. Now, how do you make those decisions? I suppose that's where all the meeting time went with the 9 curators. You got to figure out whose room is which shape and who's got the biggest room of nothing and all. Which order do you put them in? Because I'm sure it's really important.
Was that full of nothing or absent of content?
Well, it's both at the same time, isn't it? Nothing in there.
That's really something, isn't it?
Full of oh my God, that's borderline a dad joke. Wow.
But no, it wasn't a contentless dad joke.
No, oh God, it's getting worse. So they've reproduced it. They've made decisions about the shape and the size of the rooms and the order that they're in, and all very important stuff. Because if you presented it differently, it might have been a different retrospective. But also, it's not really reproducing the original work because it's different. And that's probably okay, because later on, after it had finished at the Pompidou Centre, they moved the exhibition and redisplayed it in Germany for another couple of months. How do you move this exhibition is the question.
You did some fairly big trucks there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, that's what. Do you? Maybe you do, just to
Well, you
make
probably
the
do to
point.
carry the catalogs. Though it was quite a time.
There would have been catalogs. They had signs on the wall, or describing it. So that probably needed to be recreated or moved.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if I'm, a real art appreciator, and I want to buy one of these pieces, what do I do?
Well, I think we've covered this in an earlier episode, as is the case with any other conceptually driven work of art where the material presentation of the work is interchangeable. We've talked about one fairly famous example recently, a banana gaffer taped to a wall. But in that instance, you're buying the score, not unlike buying a musical score, a manuscript, a plan for a building, etc. But of course, this is radically reduced in the form of a score. But nevertheless, John Cage certainly fought people for copyright when his 4 minutes 33, the aforementioned piece of music with no notes performed, when people presented that without attribution, he was known, or his estate was known, to sue for that.
Oh, wow. How'd he go?
One of my favourite responses to that was an artist, I think his name was Brian Fleming, who back in remember the good old days of Apple iTunes before streaming, he managed to make a mashup, which was all of the copyrighted silence on Apple iTunes. So, in other words, this was technically illegal silence.
Yeah.
and he mashed up this illegal silence to form a cover version of John Cage's 4 minutes 33. So I thought that was a pretty cheeky take on the concept.
Yeah. And the musical version of This Void's nothing in it. Yeah. Well, look, I'm going to jump right to the conclusion here. One expression of this as an idea and a construction of a room full of nothing, I can live with. 9 of them and trying to distinguish, no. For me, it's too much of the Emperor has no clothes, disappearing up your own bumhole stuff. So it's a no from me. This is shit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.